Good morning. Happy Monday. This is January 11th, and I have one kiddo in school and one doing remote, and I kind of thought I would show you what I'm up to in the kitchen. Right now, I'm getting ready to make some homemade granola. I haven't made it in quite a while, but I've been wanting to, so I printed out a recipe this morning that I'm going to try, and I thought I would just do some chit chat while I put this together. So this looks like it's a three-step process where we're going to combine our dry ingredients, cook the sweetener, and then bake it in the oven. And then I think there was something else I wanted to share today too, but that'll be in a separate video. So I have my apron on, and I am a messy cook, so I have to protect my clothes. And so I'm going to get started. I think what I might do is move the camera down a little bit so that you can see what I'm doing here, but I will pause the video for a second and then get back to it. I don't edit my videos, so I have to kind of learn through trial and error. Hold on a minute. All right, so what I have done first of all is I have measured 4 cups of oats in my pan. All of my bowls are dirty, so I'm just going to use this pan. This is a double recipe. I wanted to make, double recipe, so I can even store it in the freezer, I think. At least I'll try that. So 4 cups of oats are in here. It calls for quick cooking oats, but I had old-fashioned oats on hand. I'm okay with that. We'll just see what happens. I also need, it calls for almonds and raisins, coconut. Well, I don't want coconut in mine, although I do have some. I actually prefer raisins or the dried cranberries over raisins. I don't have any almonds, but I do have some pecans from Walmart and these diamond chopped walnuts, and I bought these at Albertsons. So I think I'm going to use those instead, and I'm going to go grab my cutting board because I want these chopped up a little bit more, so I'll show you how I do that. I'll move this out of the way. I've got my cutting board. I'm going to grab a bag. I just grabbed a sandwich size Ziploc bag. And my trusty rolling pin. I will pause the video while I'm hitting, just so that you don't hear the noise. So this recipe calls for a 1/4 cup of slivered almonds. So I'm going to do a mix of walnuts and the pecans. I think I'm going to do a 1/2 cup of the walnuts. I do grab everything, by the way. Nuts are pretty expensive, so I don't want to waste them. We're going to do a 1/2 cup. Maybe a little bit more, so yeah, a little more than 1/2 cup. And then I'm going to add in, just, I guess, a handful, maybe 2 handfuls of the pecans. Pecans, pecans, I'm not sure the right way to say it, and I guess I don't say it the same way every time. Now what I'm going to do is dump this into this bag. Let's see, maybe this won't be very loud. I'm going to get some of the air out, and then all you're going to do is bang it. You could probably use a food processor. I am going to pause the video and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've just chopped them, or not chopped them, I just banged them around with my rolling pin. You could put them in a food processor. They are not finely ground. I didn't want that, but I also don't like big pieces of nuts, so I am going to take this. I'm going to measure it out. I'm curious what my final measurement was. So we're at about 3/4 of a cup of the nuts. I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way. And I'll bring my bowl back, and this has just the oats. That's all I've put in here. I'm going to add the nuts. My spoon. What else do I have to add in here? I have my dried cranberries, and I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup, it says. Okay, you know what I'm going to do with these? I'm going to chop these up. I prefer to have, I don't like big chunks in my granola, especially if I'm going to have it on yogurt or something like that. So I'll just chop these up. Maybe I will chop these up. I think actually I'm going to throw these in my food processor. I'll be right back. Okay, this took a little bit longer than I thought because I had this part of my food processor in my refrigerator because I made some homemade cream cheese the other day. It was actually a homemade mozzarella experiment that went wrong. So this didn't do too bad. They're chopped up a little bit more than they were, but I'm just going to go with it. I think I'm actually going to take a few out. I just don't need that much. Now I'm going to give this a good mix. This is probably the easiest part. And then we get to go over to the stove and we're going to mix some butter, which I have in the pan already. It was 2 tablespoons of butter. This recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of honey. And again, I'm doubling this, but I think I just want to use honey. I'm not going to add any brown sugar to this. Okay, so this is good. And I'm going to move the tripod now over to the stove. Okay, I'm back at the stove and I have 2 tablespoons of butter in here. And my honey is raw honey. It's local. We go into Fruitland, I think, and we buy it, and it's $3 a pound if you bring your own jar. And it was crystallizing, so I've just set it in a bowl full of hot water, and it is melting nicely. So, move that, and let me get my measuring cup. To make it easier to get the honey out of the measuring cup, I'm going to spray the inside of it. So again, I'm not using brown sugar. I've got my recipe on a clipboard here. I'm going to, whoops, sorry about that. I'm going to, 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 tablespoons is a 1/4 cup, and 4, so I'm going to use a 1/2 cup of honey. I'm going to turn my burner on low, and I need US measure. And now that I think about it, I could have just pre-measured this, but that's okay. I'm actually going to let this butter melt a little bit before I put the honey in, just so it doesn't burn. I don't think I've heated honey up before. So I love home granola, but it is so expensive in the store, and it looks like this is cheaper to make it at home. I think that's melted, so we're going to pour the honey in. And do you see how nicely that's coming out? It's just sliding right out of here because I sprayed it with my non-stick cooking oil. And now I'm just going to use my little rubber spatula and stir this. Now I don't think I've heated honey up before, so I'm interested to see if it melts or, you know, what it's going to look like in a couple of minutes. But let me move the camera over so you can see. Hold on. So can you see that? It says to heat it on medium-low until bubbly, about 1 to 2 minutes, and then you pour it over the oats and toss to coat. Then we're going to put it in a baking pan for at 350 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes, stirring every 10 minutes. So what I'm going to do is get my pan out while this is heating. And I'm going to use this one, and this has my Silpat on it. You see that? I love these. My sister-in-law gave me one years ago for our first wedding anniversary. This is not the same one. I wore that one out pretty fast. But this evenly distributes the heat in the pan, and it has saved cookies from burning so many times. Because I do forget about the stove if I don't set a timer. So I don't know if you can see this, but this is turning into a liquid. I know I don't want to heat the honey too high because it will lose its beneficial properties. We're going to be coming into allergy season here pretty soon. I mean, I take Zyrtec year round because I have indoor and outdoor allergies, but raw local honey is the key from what I've read to help those allergies. And we'll see if eating honey a little bit every day will help it. And this is local within, I don't know, it's about a 30-minute drive from me, so maybe 45 miles, 50 miles. So it is pretty local. Now this isn't bubbling yet, but I'll bring you back in just a minute. All right, so I am back at my counter. I have my honey mixture is all heated up. I know the pour spout is on the side, typically thinking of a person being right-handed, but what's funny is I'm right-handed, but I tend to pour with my left hand. So I think what I'm going to do is just pour this into here. Got that in the sink, and now I'm going to stir. I'm going to bring my pan over because in just a minute I'm going to put it, the mixture on the pan. So I'm trying to coat all of the oats with the mixture, and I'm hoping there's actually enough. I guess worst case scenario, I can always add more honey. I am going with honey instead of brown sugar because honey is natural. It's still a sweetener, so it is sugar, and you do have to be careful. But I just wanted to try this with honey and see if I can get away from some of the sugar, regular sugar. Okay. Now, I'm going to pour this on here. Now, when I do use sugar, I have switched to cane sugar, which is non-GMO. And here in the States, we do have to worry about that. I don't know about other parts of the world, but GMO is kind of taken over, so you have to be careful. And I know oats can be genetically modified also. But I can't grow oats in my yard. I guess I could look for some place to buy bulk oat, organic oats. That might be an option. But I guess right now all I'm going to do is lay this on here and get it into my oven, and I'll be back in a little while. So I forgot to turn the oven on, and so I just turned it on to 350 degrees. It will cook for about 30 minutes. I am making it a goal today to learn how to merge videos on a video software. So hopefully you will see this as one video and not as a part one and a part two, but we'll just take it from here. So I will see you in a little while. Bye. Hey there, it's April and I'm back with my finished granola, which I'll show you in just a minute. But I wanted to tell you that the first batch was a total fail. It was in the oven too long, although I was checking it every 10 minutes that it suggested. It just got not charcoal, but it was pretty burned and it tastes burned, and so that batch had to go in the trash. But I have the second batch here, and I'll move you down. Right here, and it's cooling off. It's been out of the oven for a few minutes and I'm just stirring it if you hear the noise, and I think I'm going to let it sit. But this came out so much better and I haven't tasted it yet, so let me try it. It's pretty good. It's not as crunchy as I would like it to be, but I'm afraid if I put it in the oven any longer, I'll burn it. So hold on, I'll be right back. So this granola does taste pretty good, and it'll be great on yogurt. And I don't think I'm gonna make granola bars out of this batch. I did think about it with the burned batch, but they were really too far gone. And I'm sure you don't want to see it in my trash can, so I won't share that. But this time I also used a different recipe, and I used 4 cups of oats. I added some cinnamon, a very little bit of pink Himalayan salt, not even a pinch, just more of a few grains. I probably could have left the salt out. Some pecans, and then a half cup of olive oil, followed by a half cup of honey. And then I just mixed it all in the bowl. I didn't heat the honey up, which mine was kind of crystallizing because I had melted it earlier, and I probably should have done that again. So I could have, it wouldn't have hurt anything to do that, but I mixed it in the bowl and I put it in the oven, and then this beautiful batch of granola is what I'm left with. So it does taste good. I'm just going to let it finish cooling, and then I'm going to store it in a container, or maybe actually I'll freeze part of it. But I hope that you enjoyed my granola making experience, and I will see you guys later. Bye.